So we do have an international audience, and they're going to say, "Where is Meelah from?" So where were you born and raised?
I was born and raised in Las Vegas, Nevada. For those of y'all who have been to the States, I'm not sure if you've been to Vegas, but Vegas is, they call it Sin City. Yeah. They got all the hotels, the casinos, and bright lights. It looks like a little Disneyland, if you will, because it's all the if you go on the strip is the hotels and the gambling, and it's 24 hours. It never shuts down. 24-hour alcohol, 24 hours sex, drugs, rock and roll. This is what out there.
Now, because I would wonder, because I went to college in the States, and I lived in LA for a number of years, and I used to drive down to Vegas. But I do wonder, if you were born and raised in Vegas, I mean, were your parents working in the casinos? Because I wouldn't imagine they weren't farmers and stuff. So why were you raised in Vegas?
I get that question all the time. That is so funny. So I had family members who worked in the casinos, but and actually my dad, I think, was a chef at one of the casinos. I think he used to cook at one of the hotels in the kitchen or something. So he worked at a hotel for a short time. I think my mom was like a security guard at a hotel for a short time, but they didn't stay at the hotels for long. But
were they from Vegas themselves?
My mom was born in Las Vegas, actually. Wow. I know, in 1952, she was born in Vegas. Wow. But most Blacks in Vegas migrated from the South, and or other Midwestern cities or whatever, and so they moved to Vegas for better opportunity, better life, better jobs, to my understanding. My grandfather, my grandparents, they were now deceased. They lived till like they were 90 something. They moved to Vegas when, I don't know, but they had 8 kids, and I know all of my aunts and uncles are still alive, and my mom was one of the 8 that was born in Vegas. So I'm like really from Vegas. But my dad, my mom and dad met when he was like 18. He's from the South, like Louisiana. Okay. But he moved to Vegas and met my mom. So there are a lot. I get the question of like, well, are there Black? I didn't even know Black people live in Las Vegas. Oh, it's a lot of us. It's a whole lot of us. Yeah, just moved from just surrounding areas, and but Vegas is definitely a melting pot. I definitely grew up with all nationality of friends. I went to school with not just Blacks, but also I had Indian friends and Italian friends, and gosh, one of my closest friends was a little Irish girl, and wow. Oh yes, and I would. And God, I remember their names. I love looking back now as an adult. I love the fact that I was exposed, to different cultures. You know what I mean? Because a lot of some of my friends who were from the East Coast or from up north, and which would be like Virginia, New York, whatever, they weren't exposed to that. So it'd be kind of weird to them. Like, and I'm like, yeah, I grew up with a little bit of everybody in Vegas. Yeah. And but I appreciate that experience. But that's why now I live in Atlanta. And that's why when I first started coming to Atlanta, I was so like, oh, this is beautiful, because it was so many of us. It was so many Black people. I was like, Chocolate City. Like yeah. I didn't really have that growing up in Vegas. Always a lot of us out there, but it was, like I said, it was a multicultural jambalaya. So here in Atlanta, I would be like, wow, there's a lot of us, and there's a lot of us that are successful here are not just employees, but actually business owners. And I didn't see that a lot growing up in Vegas. I will say there's not a lot of culture in Las Vegas. Yeah. But I love growing up in Vegas. I did not. I wasn't born in a hotel. We have churches and movies and parks and skating rinks and what do you call that? Drive-in theaters, and we have, like everybody else, we don't have beaches or it's dry, it's the desert, but we have mountains actually. Yeah. To the mountains, the sky sits really low, so you can see the stars at night are so beautiful. Look like you just pull one right out because it's a valley, it's flat. No trees. Our lake is man-made, so it's dry there. But growing up in Vegas is beautiful. It's a beautiful place to live, but I mean, clearly I moved because I guess I wasn't that taken by it. So I'm like, but if you've been there all that time, a long time, yeah. But I have a whole family, a huge family that's still in Vegas.
I mean, because you mentioned church and stuff, and you talk about, you know, your faith. Did you sing in church, or was it in school that you started singing?
Sang in church. Yep, I grew up singing in church. I sang in school as well. I was in the choir at school in elementary. I was leading songs in the school choir, like in 5th grade. I think I have it on video cassette, actually.
Oh, goodness.
Oh gosh, I think we sang like "What the World Needs Now," and I think we sang "Celebration" by like Kool and the Gang. This is all of 4th and 5th grade. Okay.
Wow.
I have it on tape. It's so funny. I have it on VHS. So I was singing in school, and then I think by age 7, I was leading songs in the church choir. My mother had joined church, and my sister, you know, got my sister and I in the choir, and I wasn't even really trying to sing like that. I knew I liked to sing, but I didn't really like know that there was something that I didn't know that was something I like really wanted to do. I know I liked singing, like I like music.
Yeah.
But in my mind as a 5, 6, 7-year-old, you know how you hear people say, "Oh, I've been singing since I was 2."
Yeah,
no,
yeah.
I ain't been singing since I was 2. But I definitely started young. I started like around, like I said, I was in elementary singing in the choir. And then my first solo at church was about age 7. Yeah. That's when I knew, like, okay, I think I might be kind of good at this. I think I might have a natural talent at this. And so from there, like, and I didn't even go after the solo. The pianist, our musician at the time, just picked me out. It was, I don't know what he heard, because I was singing with the choir. I was a little kid, and he just, I mean, I guess it was God, not to get all deep, but because he just was like, "Hey, I want you to lead this song." And I was 7, and I'm just like, okay. And from there, I just started, I realized like, oh, okay, I'm not too bad at this. And so then my mom realized it as well, and was just like, okay, cool. And she just started putting me in talent shows around town, and oh gosh, you name it, she had me in it. Weddings, track meets. I was doing the national anthem, drinking fashion shows. I probably was at somebody's bar mitzvah. I don't know. Meelah was there in Vegas, singing all around town. I was singing, and I always sang by myself. I was never with, a group or other, people. Like I was always a one-man band. Until I met the girls later in high school.
But your mum was sending you to all these talent contests and stuff. What was the aim? What was her? Did she tell you?
I don't know. I think she realized I really enjoyed it, and clearly, I guess she realized, hey, my daughter has kind of knack for this, and so I liked being. She wasn't a stage mom, like pushing me to do it. I guess I enjoyed it. I always wanted to win. I wasn't super competitive, but I definitely wanted to win. So we'd go after these things, just really, I think, for exposure, and just because it just felt good to do. And so I won a few like local contests, and I would win these awards. And of course, that made me feel like, okay, well, why not? Let's just keep doing this and see what happens. By the time I was 13, I think I went into the recording studio for the first time. I think I sang Whitney Houston's Miracle. And I didn't realize, now mind you, I had been singing all this time in church, which is a different experience from singing in the studio. So I go in the studio and I'm like, it was a lot more work. And I quit. I quit at 13. I told my mom, I don't want to do this anymore. And my mom got upset with the producer and said, "Don't push her. You're pushing her too hard." Oh God, I remember this like yesterday. I never told this story before. That's so funny. And the producer's like, "What do you mean? Like, I'm basically like, I'm making her great." Because he was pushing me beyond my comfort zone and just challenging me vocally, I guess. And it was frustrating to me, because I was like, no, like this, I don't, I sing like this at church, not like this. And it was wild. I just remember being like, I don't want to do this anymore. My mom was like, well, you don't have to do it. So I quit at 13. I told myself I was done singing. And then fast forward, I wasn't. And so I kept singing and local stuff. And I think ultimately, I wanted to get to Star Search. That's what I think I wanted to do. I would see the kids on Star Search and I would be like, I can do that.
Oh, like Shanice.
Yes. And I never made it to Star Search. We never pursued it. I think I was going to. And then I just kind of felt like, I don't know, after that studio session, I kind of got over it. And then I started going to high school and I won. Oh, I would always sing at school in high school. So they'd always have like me and my cousin. That was like the only person I'd ever sing with. When I did sing with someone else, they would have us singing like the Black History programs and stuff like that. And that was before I went to school with 702. That was a different school. So by the time I went to the performing arts high school where I met the girls, 702, I had been singing all around town and everything, and church and these competitions and all these programs and whatever. And so I was just kind of like, I never really knew if I wanted to pursue it to be this big superstar or, you know, a famous singer. I just wanted to, I would always tell my mom, I just want to buy you a mansion. My mom says, you know, you always told me I'm just going to be rich. And it was either entertainment, journalism, or broadcasting. I never knew what I really wanted to do, but I knew those were the top three things. I love English and I loved creative writing and I loved being in front of a camera. So I knew I wanted to do something with entertainment, but I wasn't really sure, but I wasn't really pressed about being this famous singer. I just knew, I told my mom, I'm going to buy you this mansion and I'm going to be rich. And lo and behold, I mean, I definitely didn't dream about 702 happening. It's so interesting how life happens. But I was about to go to college actually, because my sister, I have one older sister who had gone off to college. And I was so motivated by her leaving from Vegas, going all the way to the East Coast to Virginia, that I was like, oh, okay. Oh, that's how we get out of here, huh? That's how we break away from church. I'm out. Because my mom she was very strict and she was very, we were pretty sheltered, if you will, my sister and I. And, you know, I was just this square church girl who, I was a little more outgoing than my sister. They say the youngest one is always a little wild. Or wild. If you think about it, you think about all the famous siblings, think about the younger one.
Yeah.
Always a little more wild. But anyway, so I was ready to go to college and I started putting in all these applications to go to a historically Black college because my sister went to one and I was just like, okay, I'm out of here. And then 702 happened and I never made it to college. I chose Motown over school. I chose Motown over higher education. Oh, I know. Looking back, I'm like,
you know, when you mentioned,
I missed everything.
Hey everyone, I want to thank you for being part of Halftime Chats. This new update is really about our membership, and I'm really excited to be able to fully launch the membership page. There will be things like full interviews from day one. As soon as the interview drops, you get access to it without any ads on it. There'll be some exclusive member-only videos that will just be some behind-the-scenes stuff and some other things that we will never be broadcast. For some members, you can be able to get actually 2 interviews because I do have a backlog of almost 7 or 8 interviews that I don't even know when I'm going to be able to broadcast them. So you're able to get at least some of those up front, and some just behind the scenes stuff, because there's a lot of stuff that goes behind the scenes that I have never been able to talk about or release. For everyone else, you know what, the videos will still be the same over a week or a week and a half or 2 weeks, depending on how long it is. So everything stays the same. The polls stay the same. The community chats, the community stuff stays the same. But I think with the membership stuff, I'm able to add a little bit more and invest a lot more time and energy in really supporting the members. So I do hope you come on that ride with me. I appreciate the support, and this will just help me continue to invest in taking things to the next level. Take care.